is the XFL. Not as gimmicky and blended with wrestling as last time. That's definitely a positive. I know a lot of you have been wanting me to do game recaps like I did with the AAF, but I'm going to be honest. Doing that league only to see it crumble in full before it even finished its inaugural season soured me on the idea of doing it for this year. It's also that I want to get to different things. I want to do more hockey, baseball's coming up, perhaps a new whim or two that gets my attention. Trust me, I know football brings the views, but I want to pretend that I have diversity in my shitposting portfolio. I know I really don't, but let me think that I do. For those of you wondering, yes, I have been watching the XFL. I've been interested in how it performs if it can capture any sort of audience. You may be wondering what I think about it so far. Honestly, it's pretty good. Like the AAF, the issue isn't going to be in the football itself, as the players are looking for a shot or second chance in the NFL. No reason not to play hard and do your best. The main thing I've noticed, at least for the short term, is that the XFL is infinitely better in terms of organization and exposure than the AAF. They've already sold more tickets before they played a game than the AAF had in its entire lifespan. They've secured premium sponsors, and they have a good chunk of games on ESPN, ABC, and Fox. The most obscure channel any game is on this year is FS2. For the AAF, you were lucky if you could find them on the CBS Sports Network or Bleacher Report. The keys for the XFL were to make sure Vince didn't meddle with decisions, not to cross wrestling with football, and to trust the brand to established football men. So far, it appears that Vince is accomplishing all three. The opening hurdle has been cleared. The first week's ratings weren't outstanding, but they had promised there was potential in the future. With the XFL or any fledgling league, the first week is always nice to see. But what's going to tell us if this league survives or not is in its sustainability. How is this league going to do in weeks 6 and 7 when baseball season is about to get underway? That is the true test. This is going to be the biggest issue that the XFL is going to deal with. Football fatigue. It's why I didn't have much optimism or excitement about the league before it began. I've just spent 3 months pouring everything into the NFL for better or for worse. There's also the AAF warning me about getting attached to something like this. As I said earlier, I'm at the point where I want to talk about hockey and baseball season's coming up. Don't get me wrong, I love football, but I need a break from it sometimes. We all do. Part of me feels like this would have been better off starting in May or June, but this is a completely uneducated thought and it may be done quickly for psychological reasons. Recency bias. Makes sense in a way. In terms of style, the new rules add a wrinkle, and I like them. But the big on-field problem is one that the AAF also dealt with. Iffy quarterback play. They have some good players. PJ Walker is a stud and Jordan Teamu shows promise. Cardell Jones has his moments, but he falls apart like he did against Los Angeles. The rest are very mad. Matt McGloin chucked his coaching staff under the bus and he was thrown into the doghouse. Landry Jones, yeah, no. There are a few guys I recognize from the AAF, and they weren't that good. Once again, it's inevitable when you're not collecting the best in the world. Just like awkward interviews, but that's a different story. I do like the behind-the-scenes stuff they're looking at, though. So what am I looking for out of this? The XFL's goals should be modest for the rest of this season. If they average around 20,000 people per game and the ratings don't dip dramatically, that's success for an opening season. As much as it would be nice, they're not going to sell out a cavern like MetLife. Although if you could sell out the smaller MLS stadiums on regularity, that's a good start. The support in Seattle and St. Louis has been good to see, but then you get dips like you did in DC and LA not giving a shit since it's not the Lakers. Am I hopeful that they'll sustain themselves? Kinda? At least they have funding and seemingly better revenue streams. The product itself is entertaining from what I've seen. Even Bears fans get to enjoy it as they dunk on Mark Trestman. Once again, I am interested to see how this goes. And I will be watching. At this point though, I'm just hoping they finish a full season. Even the old XFL accomplished this. I think this one can too.
30, return team lined up at the opposite 30. Can't move to the ball, he's fielded. And here goes Keith Mumphrey. And they're going to turn it around with room on the near side. And for the first time, they get creative. And the Battlehawks have the sideline. And a kickoff return for Joe Powell to the end zone.